Hello, visionary, and welcome to our channel. This is Raquel of Raquel and Davidian, Unleash Your Genius, and in this video, we're going to be talking about human design and spiral dynamics. Spiral dynamics is the grand model for human psychology, assists us in awakening our consciousness to higher, more aware, evolved perspectives. It's a great tool to combine with your human design knowledge. I will see you on the inside. Hello, visionary, and welcome to Human Design and Spiral Dynamics. So in Human Design, it provides us with an incredible insight into who we are and how to operate correctly as ourselves and our uniqueness. I love Human Design. And as much as I love it, it misses a few things, and that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. There's a lot of magic in this chart. This is a body graph. It shares with people their song. It's like their soul song. It's the tune of their life, and they recognize it right away. It gives them so much relief, and it serves people on such a deep level. It allows people to be themselves, act as themselves, not feel like a black sheep anymore. It helps them understand why things have happened the way they've happened. It is so incredibly powerful. Now, with that said, I see a lot of people get stuck in human design. So I've worked with hundreds of clients at this point, and where people get stuck in their dynamics of their human design, it really keeps them limited. But why? And that's what we're going to talk about today. We have to deepen the conversation. There's a shadow or a lower expression of each gate and each channel. How do we live in a healthy expression? That's kind of the conversation. In human design, they say, well, but if you live your strategy and inner authority, it kind of guides you out of that if you're not listening to your mind. And that's sort of true, but there's more to it. And that is that the mind is always operating. So even though it's a witness, it's operating all the time. You can't turn the mind off, and you're not supposed to. So as far as what you're thinking about when you're a witness, there's a quality to the witness. There's a quality to how the mind operates. And the more you can learn about this quality and learn where you get stuck and where your mind may be holding you in a reality that isn't serving you anymore, is how do we provide new thoughts for the mind as it's going through its process of becoming a witness consciousness to help us grow and help us self-actualize. So the question is, how do we move on from the shadow expression to the healthier, highest expression? Is it just awareness of the knowledge, or is there something more? In other words, how do we evolve? Do we have a choice in our evolutionary process, or is there no choice? According to Raquel, there is no choice, and this has to do with human design. You hear that a lot. You have no choice. And what that means is that your aura mechanics are operating. So your aura mechanics are who you are. And if you have a calling in your aura mechanics, it's going to operate, you're going to move towards that, and that is where you are going. And in a lot of ways, that is true. It's like a monopole ride, and you are on it. However, we also live in quantum mechanics, where the observer affects the observed. And this is something that Raquel did not integrate into his work. And I believe why there are so many offshoots, including the gene keys, including integral human design, because people don't understand this key element, and that is that the observer affects the observed. And so I'm going to bring in this notion of the spiral dynamics. It's the grand model of psychology evolution from Claire Graves. And it's all about how humans evolve. And if you are someone who is dedicated to a lifelong process of learning, of self-actualizing, you know you don't want to get to the other side, meaning you don't want to die without really taking every possible opportunity to learn why you're here, how you can be the best you, then this is going to be a really important video for you. The question we're asking is, what keeps you stuck? Why is the pursuit to evolve worthwhile? To witness what you can do in order to grow. So Don Beck and Ken Wilber, these are also people who have been major contributors to this spiral dynamics and how this operates. This is their life work. They've spent so much time critical thinking in this system. I'm going to give you the basics and allow the basics to seep in so that you can see where you're getting stuck and how you can integrate this into your human design studies. Because I see a lot of people in human design get stuck in green. And once I share this with you, you might understand, is they think that there's a lot of valor in not making money doing this stuff. And it's also people getting stuck in blue, cult-like behavior, where this is the only way. And if you don't do it our way, you're not doing it the right way. And so you can see where people in human design, even though the intel is so powerful, where they're getting stuck. And it's important information to see where your consciousness is stuck and to see where people who are teaching it and bring it to the forefront where they're stuck so you can learn and grow. So in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, self-actualizing is one of the most important things you can do being a human being. Awaken your full potential. That's what this video is about. What you'll see here are the levels. There's beige, there's purple, red, blue, orange, green, yellow, turquoise, coral. There is a tier 1 and a tier 2. I'm going to go through these a little bit more in depth than what you see here. And I'm going to go ahead and start with the beige, purple, red, and blue. I would say that most people are not living in the beige or the purple in the Western world. But you do see people in red and blue, absolutely. And what happens is this is a spiral. So people go in and out of these stages. Certain parts of their life may be in different colors. So the beige is instinctive self. Do what you need to survive. So again, this beige is not many people are going to be in this human survival instincts at this point. Not in today's world. We're going to see it maybe in homeless populations or poverty-stricken countries. It's also, babies and children as they're beginning their journey. And then purple is when you move from beige, you move from survival into a tribe. And this is really the need to, you realize there's a realization that being alone will not provide the safety and the protection. And so you need to join in a tribe. If you think of indigenous people, you might see this as purple. There's no science or God or rational thinking. It's confused by the world, how the world is operating. It was brought on the planet about 50,000 years ago. A lot of magical thinking. If there's thunder, God is punishing us. It's tribal, it's ancient indigenous people. And here we have the transformational dilemma is finding the self and stepping into a new level of individual reliance. So next it goes into red. And here we have an egocentric, impulsivity, self-satisfying. People in this stage of development will do whatever they want for their own benefit and success, following their impulses, taking whatever they want, caring for nothing. If they gain it, it does not matter if it harms another person. Aligning with power through force and aggression, conquers, dominates, demands respect with manipulation, control, or violence without earning it. Enjoy self to the fullest, will be hyper aggressive for their own needs to be fulfilled. So look around. Do you know anybody in red? This came onto the planet about 10,000 years ago. You can also see this in very aggressive mafia leaders, but in truth, we see a lot of red in the leaders of this country right now. And I think this is a downfall we're having in the country, is that because they're successful, because they're rich, we see them as having some sort of valor, some sort of something that they've achieved, but really their consciousness is very low level. Maybe even Trump is red, and a lot of people would say he's orange, and it's possible, but he appears to be very egocentric to me. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. In order to evolve out of red, you need to move into blue. And this level is about the consciousness of religion. So once you realize in red that, wow, what I'm doing is wrong, or if there's any consequences to my taking whatever I want and dominating and controlling, they have sort of this wake up moment and they see God. They move into blue. And this is about one God, one way, and all others are wrong. So blue is a stage of development. It's higher than red. However, many people get stuck in this, where it's the blue way or no way. It's their God or no other God. It is good versus evil. And this lives here in cultural monism and cultural superiority. When people are blue, they think their way is the best and only way. Here, you must be obedient, follow the rules of the tribe, and sacrifice the self. The code of conduct, emotional manipulation, us versus them. Vicious. If you don't follow their rule, then you are nothing. They are trying to proselytize, to tell everybody about this is the way, you need to be this way. And so it's important to understand this because so many people get stuck in this area, in this blue. It's so hard for them to see out of it because when you think your way is the only way, it's very hard to pop out and realize that that's a stage of development and that there's more to it. There's a lot more to it. So now if you've noticed, when we travel up the spiral, there's a pendulum swinging back and forth between I and we. And so in human design, you would call this individual and tribal. We have the psychological survival, then we go into the clan tribe, and then it goes back into the I, the individual, raw, dominance, control, back into the we, meaning the purpose in life, which is the blue. This is where we're at right now. And then I'm going to go into the next levels in just a minute. But in human design, we talk about the individual and tribal. Why is this so important? Well, think about it. You can have a individual expression at a lower level. You can have individual uniqueness, and as long as you keep going after the I, me, aggressive manipulation, you're going to be, I mean, usually if you really surrender your strategy and authority, you're not going to be aggressively in the red, probably. However, it'd be very easy for you to fall into the tribal blue if you have a lot of tribal circuitry into religion, thinking your way is the only way. Again, when you move more into human design, it is just a way to allow us to honor each and every person. However, you can see that within human design, you can get stuck between this pendulum and not rise up the spiral. In spiral dynamics, you don't have to know spiral dynamics to rise up. You can self-actualize with your own personal progress and personal development, but learning the basics of this spiral dynamics, it really helps. Now we're getting into where most people are, okay? Most people are living in the orange and the green and the blue, okay? But I would say that in the Western world, we see most people between green, orange, and blue. Each level, there's a challenge to overcome. Each stage has a transformational dilemma. It's very distasteful to face this dilemma and step through the next level. It's not easy to shift levels. People spend lifetimes in one level or between two. Awakening to a new level is a huge accomplishment in life. So I just want to tell you that. Because if you're listening to this, you may have privilege. You may have time. You may have the ability to self-actualize. So it's up to you to really see this, contemplate it, and allow it to move through your consciousness so you can be the example of living at higher levels and higher stages of awakening. It's very important right now in the world that we start to self-actualize. So I'm really inspiring and encouraging you guys to understand where you're getting stuck. So we see a lot in the self-help industry, in businesses, even very, very successful 6-7 figure people are stuck in orange. And this is where we have the overachiever. It's all about self-interest. It's very strategic. It was on the planet about 300 years ago. It's the Wall Street corporations and businesses above the law, business first as the motto. They put the bottom line above all else. It's very selfish, materialistic, against God or religion. So in other words, they've moved out of blue and they're like, okay, I'm done with that religious stuff. And now I'm going for the gold, right? I'm going to have a successful business. We really honor orange. We think these people with materialistic success are the God. I would say capitalism lives in orange. We have, forget God. If it earns more money, then do it. The dollar is our God in orange, right? And in our capitalist culture. So once you move past blue, you now use the idea of God or religion for your own gain. And so you need to be able to see through this. If people are using God or religion, they'll do it in orange and they'll do it in red. They'll use God and say that they believe in God because it will manipulate blue. Here in orange, the wake-up call to live in green is eventually realizing that money doesn't make you happy and you're selling your soul, you're hurting people you love. You may not be as aggressively hurting people as you would in red, but you are sacrificing the environment for the bottom line. You're sacrificing your employees to make more money. You care more about money rather than the well-being of somebody who's giving over their life force energy to flip your burgers. But like all levels, this is very distasteful of a thought for orange. If they have to sacrifice their business earnings, it's painful for them. So you can see most people getting stuck in this for a lifetime. If you've made 7 figures in your business, you don't want to sacrifice that in order to do good. And it's very hard for orange to see green as a step above. They see it as a step below them. So the green is really about, you're going to see this more in environmentalists, the hippies, a lot of people that maybe aren't making as much money. And again, because we value orange so much, it's hard for us to understand that those people who are earning less money are more conscious, they're more evolved, they're more awake. If somebody's, selling all their stuff and going on a journey, we don't really honor that. And I'm not telling you to do that, and I don't think I've done that in the past, but it wasn't necessarily the best thing in the world to do. But that was me living in green and going through this stage. And so it is a stage of development. And so with people in orange, they look down on that. And remember, within each and every color, you see the one above you and the one below you is downright stupid. It's very hard to shift from orange to green. If you find yourself in orange right now, I encourage you, go do a hippie retreat, go out to Burning Man, go somewhere that challenges all of your notions of what you think this world is about. Let yourself self-actualize, let yourself grow in this area. Green is relativistic. It's communal based in human rights. It cares about the environment. It's the well-being of others and for animals. And like I said, the hippies, the equal rights, the do-gooders, they seek peace within. And there are issues to heal the planet, fighting for vegans, and they're starting their spiritual awakening and caring about the planet. And the ideals include human spirit, being freed from dogma, being freed from the greed of orange, the propaganda, the agenda, the corporation, and the divisiveness. Feeling sensitivity, caring for others supersede the cold rationality of success and power from orange. The problem here, and you guys will probably understand this because if you look out, you'll see this, is that people get militant here as well. If you don't eat vegan, there's something wrong with you. Or if you don't fight for these equal rights, they're very preachy. They are not able to understand or hear the other perspectives of orange, right? And they can get overly sensitive and then they can't get anything done. And we saw this with the 1% movement that happened a couple years ago. That was a very green movement. And they had a huge momentum and just tons of people taking over the city centers, and they were just ended up sleeping in tents and not getting anything done at all. And so that's where green gets stuck, is they don't realize that having money is actually a good thing if you use it well and you learn how to incorporate that. Once you get that and you realize that you might be stuck in this green, and I have to tell you that when I realized I was stuck in green, which I was in college, when I realized this and I learned spiral dynamics, it really helped me to grow, and it really helped me to see things in a new perspective and realize that, oh, my thinking is really stuck in this green and I need to incorporate orange and incorporate that so I can grow and move on and be successful. And so once you have that insight, then you move towards tier 2. And tier 2 is a quantum shift in your consciousness. So stay with me. I know this is getting to be a long video, but this is really important. This is what I really want you guys to hear, is that we're moving into a conscious shift of awareness and of reality, and that everything in this world is deeply connected. This is when you've had a spiritual awakening. This is when you've had those moments where you get shocked and you move up in consciousness. So 99% of mankind is in tier 1. In tier 1, everyone is looking at the world from their reality, and they think anyone who thinks differently is deluded or crazy or woo-woo. Do you know that? Have you ever been in that experience where you have these awakenings and you try and bring it back to people and they just think you're nuts? They see you as purple. They see you as doing rituals and beating drums and worried about the thunder being your god. That's what they see. So when you have this experience, don't you want people to understand spiral dynamics so they can see where they're stuck, so that they can open their eyes and see? So once you move into tier 2, there's a lot more relativity and subjectivity. No reality is concrete, not even scientific principles. As you know, quantum physics has shifted everything, and epigenetics have shifted everything. And when you awaken to that, you move into tier 2. You're not going to blame. You're not going to shame. You're not going to have judgment. You're not going to demonize people. Vilifying another person is untenable. Okay, so you are not going to start, demonizing what you see in blue happening all the time. And think of all the problems those levels are creating by propaganda and demonizing, making other people wrong. It just keeps people stuck, and it's dramatic, and it doesn't help the situation at all. So once you move into tier 2, evil ceases to exist. It becomes simply a delusion. We move out of the good versus evil. Powerful. Everything changes when you go to tier 2. How you see reality breaks down. The holographic universe, all stages look at other stages from their vantage point. Meaning you cannot see yellow if you're stuck in green. You can't see yellow if you're stuck in blue. So if you're in tier blue, green, and orange, and you can't see the upper tiers, then I'm going to encourage you to open up your perspective, open up your minds, and know that there is a way to self-actualize and to see more. So what we're going to be going into with the yellow and the turquoise, if you're not there yet, you will see it as insane. It will be fantastic to you, unscientific or magical thinking. People will think you're a woo-woo. You will think what I'm saying is woo-woo, I should say. So for those of you who are, and you know you're spiritual, you know you've done a lot of this work, a lot of this healing, you know what I'm talking about. People in blue, green, and orange, they think you're insane. They don't believe what you're talking about. But once you go into tier 2, it is not magical thinking, okay? That is not the case. It is a higher level of consciousness that you cannot appreciate from the lower levels. You need to take the time to learn who you are. You need to take the time to self-actualize, to know that yes, people awaken into enlightenment. They transcend the rules of physics. This is real. So we will go deeper into that. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to end the video here. I want to hear your guys' comments, and then in part 2, I will do stages yellow, turquoise, and coral. Otherwise, this video is going to get too long. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you gained anything, go ahead and like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Please comment below, and I will look forward to seeing you in part 2.